what is going on with some police officers in Texas. Atatiana Jefferson, who you see here, was shot inside her own home over the weekend. A cop was there to do a welfare check, and then this happened. Take a look.
Put your hands up. Show me your hands.
Yeah, before he even finished that sentence. And I want you to listen to what her neighbor said about the call and why he called the police.
I called my police department for a welfare check. No domestic violence, no arguing, nothing that they should have been concerned with as far as them coming with guns drawn to my neighbor's house.
So Atatiana was a 28-year-old pre-med student. She was playing video games with her 8-year-old nephew who saw her shot and killed. He said, "Show me your," and then the gun went in the middle of the sentence. Does this make you think about ever calling the police ever again? And know that the neighbor called a non-emergency number.
And I think he shot in 2 seconds, which is the really scary part. And I hate that the police are showing that there was a gun in the home and releasing those pictures, because there's nothing nefarious or illegal about owning a gun, especially in Texas. And so this,
Absolutely,
to me, just looks like, at the very least, an indictment, if not a murder charge. Like watching this young girl, she's a grad student, an 8-year-old.
I know.
And do we have any tissues up here? And I know how you feel right now, because honestly, I'm angered right now, and I know, Al, you're our voice of reason, and so I'm not going to come off. I'm not going to come off as that guy right now. I promise you that. But what we're seeing right now is we're watching the path go towards a Bible and a hug.
And her dad said he doesn't want to hug. Her dad said, "Don't hug me."
Yeah, the father has come out and spoken and said, this is absolutely senseless.
You know what I mean by Bible and the hug? Because that's what Amber Geiger got the other day when she was sentenced. She got the Bible and the hug, because you're seeing unedited, heavily unedited body cam video. You're seeing them release saying that he thought that she was a perceived threat, even though he didn't knock on the door
or
and announce himself.
Lindsay,
so,
I just have to ask what's going through your mind right now. I just want to be honest, because obviously you're feeling things. Just how are you feeling right now?
I'm just scared that you cannot be in your own home anymore. So it's different if your body is perceived as a threat as an African American existing here, but the fact that 2 people in the last month or 2 months were killed in their home in Texas, it's scary. I just don't, like, we already have a problem with the police, and so to know that you can't even call them without getting killed. This is a welfare check this man called, just because her door was open. They didn't even bother knocking on the door. They went around back. Imagine if you hear somebody in your backyard walking around.
And they didn't announce as a police officer. Again, this came from the police chief. Al, how are you kind of handling all this?
I'm not surprised. I mean, Lindsay, we've been doing this a long time, and we're just so happy you're on the team, but unfortunately you'll be tempered and steel. And you see how Brandon and I, we cover this story every week, and this is why when we see the barbecue Beckys and the Coupon Carls, and it's kind of funny because we give them these names. What are they always threatening to do? They're always saying, "I'm calling the cops, I'm calling the cops." You don't see that when 2 sorority girls are having an argument at a university. Well, why do the people always threaten to call the cops when it's a black person? Because they know when the cops show up, if somebody's going to be dead, it's a black person. The person making the call knows that, and the person that's having the cops called on them knows that. But again, it's the dog whistles that we use. So you can just say, "Hey, I'm for law and order." All these dog whistles that we hear all the time. We know what this is. We know what the cops' job is. They are an extermination force for black people. That's what they do. We have not seen any young white women be accidentally shot. I haven't seen when have we covered that story? I've been here every day for 2.5 years.
Let's bring up both of John's picture as well. Just if this happened weeks ago, I just want to remember. Oh, they don't have it. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is both happening in Texas, and something's going on.
Didn't the gun thing remind you of the marijuana thing in Botham Jean systems?
The scariest
the
thing
immediacy of that.
Even this reminds me too, scarier, of the Mike Brown incident. Whether that young man robbed a store or not has nothing to do with the fact that he was pulled over randomly, or he's walking down the street and the cops pulled him and shot him up at the car.
Eric Garner.
Yeah, it's like there's so many instances, and so I just know how this is going to play out. And so I'm just getting disheartened to watch her dad say, my daughter who's 28 years, her dad was crying.
You, Lindsay, I mean, like we talk about this stuff with the cops, but I mean, the die was cast with Trayvon Martin. Trayvon Martin was killed by just a random dude. Like a random dude. He wasn't deputized. The cops told him not to follow. He followed. He got into an altercation, lost, killed the young man.
He got away.
And he walked away and then sold the gun on eBay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's still alive and free and watching DBL right now. So I think they're letting you know. So I don't know why people are upset.
Well, we have a lot of different emotions here. It's Lindsay obviously really feeling it. I know Brandon is probably really angry is what
Give
you're
her a
feeling.
year.
And
Bible
you're
and a
feeling
hug.
very numb. And I want to know what the DBL Nation feels. Kevin Ang wrote in and says, that is so sad. The officer should be charged with murder. Right now, he's on administrative leave.